I know how it should be. I got it all planned out, but he's got a plan for me. When it's bad weather, sometimes I yell up at the sky. Today was supposed to be dry, but that's not what I need. Life's so unpredictable, and things might not be going my way, but it's gonna be a good day. Though things are going sideways, I got a smile on my face. Nothing's gonna break me down, 'cause I know whatever happens, he knows he'll never leave me alone. I'll be okay, and it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. He made all the planets, he made all the stars in the sky. He knows what he's doing, he's gonna make it alright. And when the wind's blowing, there might be a reason. It is something I'm learning, something I'll never forget. Life's so unpredictable, and things might not be going my way, but it's gonna be a good day. Though things are going sideways, I got a smile on my face. Nothing's gonna break me down, 'cause I know whatever happens, he knows he'll never leave me alone. I'll be okay, and it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Though things are going sideways, I got a smile on my face. Nothing's gonna break me down, 'cause I know whatever happens, he knows he'll never leave me alone. I'll be okay. It's gonna be a good day. Though things are going sideways, I got a smile on my face. Nothing's gonna break me down, 'cause I know whatever happens, he knows he'll never leave me alone. I'll be okay, and it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day.
Evening on the family, a proclamation to the world, and this week's is on dating. So here we go, let's jump right in. Okay, President Thomas S. Monson, speaking of his decision to ask his future wife for a date, said, "That decision, I believe, was perhaps the most important decision that I have ever made." And President Gordon B. Hinckley, talking about the marriage decision, said, "This will be the most important decision of your life, the individual whom you marry." So no pressure, but dating and marriage is really important. Okay, now we are going to go over some questions. After I read these, go ahead and pause and discuss as a group. So, dating. Do you think dating changed over the years? Do you think that it has changed? And how do you think it's changed? What does dating look like for you and your peers today? And is it still important to date in today's world? Because there's so many hangouts, just people are just hanging out, right? So why date? And does hanging out fulfill the same needs? How should you date? Go ahead and discuss. Okay, so this was in talk by Dallin H. Oaks in 2006. He said, he encouraged young people to date rather than hang out. Dating involves planning ahead and pairing off. he urged young men to summon their courage and initiate dating. He counseled young women to be supportive by encouraging simple and inexpensive dates that foster greater frequency of dating. He mentioned how in Utah, how you have big grand dates and they have to be a huge deal. And he's like, you don't have to do that. You should just hang out. I mean, you should date, but don't make it a big deal. He encouraged young adults to resist cultural trends indicating that there are only two kinds of dating, hanging out or exclusive dating. Elder Oaks encouraged frequent and simple dates. He also stressed that the goal in these dates is conversation and interaction, not entertainment, which is kind of funny because, right, I always want to be like entertained and have it be a big deal and have it be so much fun, but he's like, the point of getting to know all these people is actually getting to know them. Discuss your perceptions and thoughts on hanging out versus dating and how to date well. Take just a minute. Go ahead and pause it. Did you pause it? Okay, and look at these two pictures, right? Don't these teens look like it's the worst? They're just hanging out, so bored. That happens all the time. Compared to look at these guys, they're having the time of their life on a 2-seater bike in a casual stroll, and they both look beautiful and they're gussied up. Which one now? Discuss hangouts versus dating. And look at, I just put on some of our dates. When we crashed a party, looking amazing. When we went snowboarding. This is just a hangout right here. Because that doesn't mean you can't hang out. Just don't only hang out. We were playing night games. There's me. There's Dad. You probably can't see him because he's camouflaged. There's us at a wedding. There's us, and we've just gone on a date, and we fell asleep during the movie. So, there you go. Let's go. Not us, but this. Okay. Alright, so this is kind of fun. How can you tell if she's into you? Just ask her out. Do something together. That's like the easiest way. They went through all these things on there that were like, well, you can like get closer to her and see how she responds. You can ask a friend if she's into you. Like all these different things. But it was like the best way is to just do something with her. See if she wants to do it. And then I just said everyone wants each other to be more straightforward. So that's the best way to do it. So how to date. Not a hangout, but according to Donald J. Oaks, you're supposed to plan ahead, paid for, and he put by the man, this is in 2006. But if you're a woman and you want to ask somebody out, do it, because you have that. Do it. Just do it. And pair off. It's funny because you don't usually hear that in church, you know? It's like no pairing off. But in dating, you're supposed to pair off. All right. Fancy dating contributes to no dating. My mom used to always say, kiss, keep it. She would say it to the really say, keep it simple, sisters. Or keep it simple, silly. Or some people say, keep it simple, stupid. So anyway, for your dates, it says, this is Elder Oaks still, he said, the more elaborate and expensive the date, the fewer the dates. As dates become fewer and more elaborate, this seems to create an expectation that a date implies seriousness or continuing commitment. That expectation discourages dating even more. Gone is the clumsy and inexpensive phone call your parents and grandparents and I used to make. That call went something like this. What are you doing tonight? How about a movie? Or how about taking a walk downtown? Cheap dates like that can be frequent and non-threatening since they don't seem to imply a continuing commitment. How can you create a casual and not committed environment when asking someone out on a date? You can pause. Unless you have a quick answer. I do want to say one thing here. I don't know if you already paused or if this is back on, but one of the girls in my class had a great suggestion. She's in college, super cute girl, and she says one of the guys that asks her out periodically, that he'll ask her out and he'll say, hey, what are you doing like Thursday night at 7? Let's go on a date. So we are going on a date. And they go and they hang out. And then she's like, and then he asks me out like 2 weeks later. But he's not like blowing up my phone with texting me and trying to be like my one and only. But that makes it so he can go out with a lot of people and it doesn't seem so serious. I thought that was a great idea. Just give it space. Let it breathe. All right. Now, here's an activity. The quote that Elder Oaks said was, summon your courage. So plan a fun group date, calendar your date, and ask a date. And remember, interactive and good communication. And then if you're not dating age, our little kiddos. Plan a play date, calendar your play date, and ask a friend over to do it. Go ahead and do that now. Pause. Oh, hey, Shepherd. Almost. All right, last thing is if you are dating someone, maybe you got serious, how do you end your relationship? Let me put this back on. Oopsie. How do you end your relationship? I thought this was kind of great advice. You can be in it. You know, the verse 121, 42 to 43, it says about correcting the times. It says, with kindness and early on. That's the basic answer to that. He said, some of the best counsel we can get for ending a relationship is that, with kindness and early on. To reprove means to correct, and betime means early on. Thus, with pure knowledge received by the Holy Ghost, it helps us to understand a relationship must end. We should correct the situation, end this relationship quickly, and not let it drag on. The word sharply can mean with clarity. Think of a sharp image, rather than with severity, as it most often is interpreted. Thus, while being as loving and kind as we can, we should make it clear that the relationship is ending and why, rather than beating around the bush and hoping the partner will get the message. Again, this should be done with kindness, meekness, and love unfeigned, recognizing that even if a partner has hurt us in some way, he or she is a beloved child of God and should be treated accordingly. Mom, just a minute, buddy. Okay, 2 more things. Distinguishing needs from wants certainly helps foster wiser choices in a marriage partner. With qualities in the needs category like selflessness, humility, maturity, sense of humor, and the ability to commit, taking precedence over those in the wants category like height, college, pedigree, type of career, hair color, and social status. So you'll have a ton of wants that you get, but make sure you get those needs in there. So take a minute, think about what your needs are. Alrighty, decisions determine destiny. That is why it's worthwhile to look ahead, to set a course, to be at least partly ready when the moment of decision comes. Thus, we must look ahead to the type of marriage we want, set a course towards the goal, and then prepare every needful thing. Alright, now some fun. Okay, so you have to figure out whose date was it. Okay, number 1. Their first date together, he talked about another girl the entire time. Both were a little surprised that there was a second date. Take a minute. It was Grandma Julie and Grandpa George. They had a friend in common, and they were on their way to like a fireside. And they were surprised there was a second date. All right, whose date was it? For one date, they sang to strangers on the street for tips, which they used to pay for dinner. It was Dad and Mom outside of what was that giant building on campus called? I don't remember. All right, whose date was it? They would jump in the car and try to find where the skylights for big events were originating from. You know, the ones that are just shoot, shoot, shoot. Like, they wouldn't go to the events. They would just try to find where the skylights were. They found them every time. She said he has a great sense of direction. Grandma Joan and Grandpa Reed. All right. They didn't think that they liked each other very much, but both missed each other while they were apart for Thanksgiving break. Then realized at the same time that they did like each other. Like, they never missed anybody. They had been on a few dates. And then Thanksgiving break happened, and they both thought of each other and like missed each other. And Grandpa said he never misses anybody. So that's pretty cute. Oh, I told you who it was. Here it is. Okay, whose date was it? He took her to see the play Oklahoma on stage in a box seat. She was super impressed and so happy that he liked musicals. Grandma Joan and Grandpa Reed. Once while they were driving and one of their favorite songs came on, he pulled over to a quiet spot off the road and asked her to dance. And that was your daddy-o. He's very cute like that. All right, so little moment of doing something. I want you guys to, for the little kids, plan a play date, calendar the play date, and ask the play date over. Okay? And for those of dating age, plan a fun group date, calendar your date, and ask a date. Okay, go. All right, this is just a little piece at the end for a little bonus fun. Okay. Oh, I don't know why that came off the thing. Anyway, okay. He proposed to her up the canyon after building an igloo. He proposed to her while she was in her bathrobe on her couch thinking she'd been dumped. Who was it? He proposed to her with a ring from Chinatown on the Golden Gate Bridge. And it surprised them both. Grandma wrote this. She said, George and I started dating in September of 1976. We started really paying attention to each other after Christmas. By March, I was convinced he was wonderful. We were at church leaving sacrament meeting. We were in the same ward, and he told me he wasn't going to see me for a while. He had some thinking to do. Well, I thought I had just been dumped. So I did what girls do when they get dumped. I stayed in my lovely stripy bathrobe and listened to sad music and felt sorry for myself. That Tuesday night, he came by, and my roommate answered the door and came to get me. I was, of course, in my bathrobe, and I went to see what he wanted. He was smiling and happy, and I was miserable. And that is when he asked me to marry him, sitting on my couch in my bathrobe. It is really a pretty funny memory. It was not parked by the temple at sunset. It was not at a nice restaurant. Nope, none of those. But it worked, and that is what counts. Love, 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 Julie. All right, here's ours. On July 3rd, I flew out to visit Jess in California. I stayed with some of the girls he worked with, but we spent all of our time together. We went to the beach, watched the fireworks over the ocean, did baptisms for the dead at the Oakland Temple, went to the aquarium of the Bay in San Francisco, and walked around Chinatown. On Saturday, the 6th of July, the day before I had to leave, we decided to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. It was getting dark and cold, so Jess bought me a jacket. And then around 9 p.m., we started. It was dark, and all the lights were gorgeous. Most people were getting off the bridge, and shortly after us, they didn't let anyone else on. We stopped in the middle and were just talking. Jess got down on one knee and said, Carrie, I knew from the second that you got off the plane that I couldn't let you leave here without putting a ring on your finger. After that, my mind went crazy. I was not expecting this at all. He said a whole bunch of other cute stuff, and I'm sure of it, but at the end, he asked me to marry him and to be his eternal companion, and I said yes. And here we are. It's been a lot of years. It's gone really well. So here's some pictures down here of right after and when we were at the beach. All right, Grandma, here she is in front of their igloo. Reed proposed with a traditional diamond ring and a red rose, but it was too cold to build one with a complete top, and they didn't stay very long because those were really cold. And they went to a dance, and she made her dress. Love you all. Bye.